Welcome. I'm Daniel G. Garza, and this is a special edition of Putting Together Conversations. I know you're thinking, what? Putting together conversations on a weekday? Yes. And honestly, there's only certain people that I would do a special weekday show for. And my guest today is definitely one of those people. Let me give you a quick read her bio for you. Parlaying a cancer diagnosis into an advocacy powerhouse, Anne-Marie Otis gives voice to people impacted by breast cancer, MS, and mental health issues. Since establishing the nonprofit Stupid Dumb Breast Cancer Organization in 2012, Emily has worked tirelessly to engage the community through awareness programs and fundraising initiatives, and to ensure that everyone who suffers is heard. She currently serves as Director of Community for Lightbulb and Wisdo.com, the mighty influencer and social media consultant for NAMI New York City, NYC Metro. And you can find her at stupiddumbbreastcancer.com, what would you miss.com, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And she is, before she jumps in and interrupts me, I'm going to say that she is by far one of my favorite people in the world. She drags me along to a lot of different projects. She's not just a fellow advocate and a colleague, but I consider one of my dearest friends. So let me bring to the stage Emery.
Hi, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh my God, do you know what I realized?
What you realize?
Today is Taco Tuesday.
Today is Taco Tuesday. I should have worn a Taco Tuesday shirt, but I don't know why I thought about you.
Well, at least you wore a shirt. I almost didn't wear one.
Well, I may or may not be wearing pants, so we're going to leave that up.
I'm not, so.
But for some reason, I thought of you and I thought of vinyl, and I thought this shirt was apropos for you for some reason. So
thank you, darling.
Hi, welcome to the show.
I'm glad to be here. I'm so glad to chat with you. You are one of my favorite humans. We have been friends a long time.
Yeah, and it's just because we work together a lot. It just seems like I've known you a lot longer. I guess it's one of those friendships that just like intensified really quick.
I agree.
It went from like rain to sleet and frozen quickly, and I mean that in a good way.
Yeah.
Because as I was reading your bio before the show, I realized that we met at Healthy Voices.
We did.
We worked together on Wisdo.
We did.
Together on Lightbulb.
We did. You've done some What Would You Misses for me.
Yes, and then a couple of other ventures that we worked together. And I will say this on the air that I so appreciate you, and I don't know what you see in me, but you seem to like call on me for different projects, and I'm always nervous, and I'm like, what is she getting me into? And then once I'm there, I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. So I want to thank you.
Well, I adore you. I think you are a very honest, genuine human being, and I need more of that in my life. So when I connected with you at Healthy Voices, honestly, I just felt that you were real. And I think we go through life so many times with so much, fakeness, faker than my boobs. And I got fake boobs, so I don't need fake friends.
That's a lot of fake.
A lot of fake.
One of the things and one of the reasons, for those of you again watching Putting Together Conversations, I know you do several shows on Saturday, yes. And like I said, there's only certain people that I'm like, okay, I'll do a weekday.
Shucks.
She's one of them. And the reason I've been wanting to have you on my show for so long is that you are one of the few people that I can be totally honest with, let my guard down, and we both have the same. I'm speaking for you a little bit, but
no, I know what you're gonna say.
the same vision when it comes to diagnosis and our health. Like we make fun of ourselves before anybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
We tear ourselves down, but then we build ourselves back up again the way we want to. And you're such a okay.
A
This
pain
is
in the ass. I mean, can we swear?
yes, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
But you're one of those full-rounded humans. Like you know how to build yourself up. You know how to build other people up. You see the worst in things, but the best in things. And then you're brutally honest, and then you turn around and have this wonderful motherly energy. I just
I am a mama bear.
love
So,
that.
here's the thing, Daniel. I've had crap in my life, like a lot of crap. And I have dealt with people talking crap, fabricating situations that weren't real my whole life, my entire life, through everything that I've been through. So I have really tried to make sure that my character is shown, and not just on Stupid on Breast Cancer and What Would You Miss, but to my friends and to people like yourself. And that part of me is so, so important. And you saw that in me. And I see that in you. It's funny, you said before I came on, I'm gonna say all this before she interrupts me. And that is one thing I love about us. You and I are constantly having a conversation over each other. Like constantly. I don't think I've ever been in a conversation where we were not talking over each other. And I love that about us because we connect so deeply that we both want to get this message out, what we have to say. And 9 times out of 10, it's the same freaking message.
We have separate deliveries, but we're always arriving at the same spot. And you are a powerhouse. You're the first time with you. It's the first time that I saw that terminology, powerhouse advocate.
Oh,
And I'm like,
shucks.
I am
Go
so
on. I mean, I'm technically a pretty princess, but powerhouse works too. I think I should actually change that title from powerhouse. Maybe it could be pretty princess powerhouse. Powerhouse pretty princess. I don't know. We got to work on that.
advocate. But if for anybody watching, if you've ever seen Rocket Ralph, Wreck-It Ralph, what is it? What's her name? Penelope?
Oh my God. Do you think
Is that her name, Penelope?
I don't know, but I can picture
Yeah.
the caricature.
Yes. If you can imagine her growing up, she will grow up to be Emery. That is who that is.
So what I actually loved before this conversation, I was shoveling dinner into my mouth because I hadn't eaten all day, and I was like, "We have to hurry up! I have 15 minutes. I have to do this interview with my BFF." And then you start ringing my phone. I was like, I'm coming!" So those who do not know, I literally showed up like 30 seconds before we went live, and Daniel handled it like an ace.
Okay, I'm gonna throw you under the bus a little bit.
Throw me.
Notorious, because I sit on a couple of things with her. Notorious for okay, we need to finish this meeting at 5 minutes till because I have something else, and 5 minutes after we're still talking, and she's like, I gotta go. But you know what? I do the same thing.
I know. We just have a lot to share. And that's the other thing with you. I think I connected with you. I mean, you're clearly gay. I mean, we can say that on this, right?
What?
I mean, do your viewers know you're gay?
Well, I mean, I think deaf and blind people can see that I'm.
So I'm not gay.
But
I mean, today I'm not.
But if you're a man, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you saying?
We had cancer.
Yes.
So we connect there. We're both in recovery. We connect there. And we have different views on both of those. And I'm not an HIV advocate. However, if Brady is watching this or Robert is, I've been known to lick their faces. So, technically, maybe I am.
You're a gay licker?
I'm a face licker.
A gay face licker? I'm not going to go there. But yes, for those of you watching, I always tell a little story about how I met my guest. And when I met Anne-Marie at Healthy Voices the first time, I was scared of her. Have I told you this? Did you know this?
I gotta hear
this. Okay. So the first time I saw Anne-Marie, For those of you that I know you've heard me talk about Healthy Voices, it's an annual conference put on by Johnson Pharmaceuticals and Johnson & Johnson. And I was there the first time, 2017. And there's, I'm not going to say it's a clique because it's not a clique, but the organizers kind of like pinpoint those of us that are like big. Right. And so they were like, you need to meet so-and-so, you need to meet so-and-so. And your name popped up, and they kept pointing at people across the room who to meet. And I'd already seen you, I think because of WeGo. I saw
yes, I do.
And I was like, oh no, I don't want to, no, I don't want to talk to her. And they were like, right now, I'm like, she's scary, like she's loud, and she's commanding the room. But you know, it's one of those things. One of my life mottos is, if I fear you, I want to know you, because I want to know what it is about you that I see that reflects on me, and why am I afraid of that? Because I'm probably not tapping into that in me. So
sure.
we met through the WeGo thing, and we kind of stayed in touch, and then you were like, hey, there's this starting, you're going to do it. And I remember the email. It wasn't like, would you like to participate? Could you? You're going to do this. And I was like, bitch, like, you don't know me. And then I looked at it, I was like, okay, yeah, she knows me. Okay, yeah, I'll do it. And from there on, it was just kind of, I realized that we have the similar type of energy. And from then on, I was like, I tell everybody, she has my citizenship papers. And if I don't do what she says, it's ice for me.
You're ice. Yeah. So what's funny about your story is I've actually heard that from a few people, that I'm scary, which is humorous, because for those that are watching that can only see me from the, you know, the chest up, I'm 4'10". So like I'm tiny, and I'm maybe 100 pounds wet. So, you know, yeah, but I do have this thing where awkward silence freaks me out. So instead of it being silent, I talk a lot. And I'm a very loud person. I'm full-blooded Italian. So the loudness comes out. And I think that really emulates in a setting like the conferences that we've been at. Like, I really think that pushes. To what you just said about me reaching out to you, I'm a firm believer that my story might not matter to somebody, but your story might. Or maybe, you know, Joe's story or Lucy's story, whoever it is. So I may not even connect with you really on a personal level, but I'm going to share your story because I really believe that there might be a connection that somebody that's watching needs. And for you, it's a little different because I absolutely, totally adore you. For as much as we joke around and we poke fun at each other, you are one of my top 5 people. Like, you are freaking amazing. I love, love, love you. I have no problem sharing some dark, you know, crap with you because I know that you're never going to judge, and I know that you're safe. And that is something that is really rare in a human being.
Well, before we go into your story, I'm going to finish with this story, and then we're going to start listening to your put together story. But we were in New York for a you know where I'm going. We were in New York for an event. We were there for a global citizen event.
Wait, I wasn't there for that event. I was there for something else, and I totally honed in on the HIV community.
So, Positively Fearless campaign, which you guys have heard about, was there for the Global Citizens concert. We were going to be there for that event. And Anne-Marie just happened to be, because she lives in New York, she just happened to be there for the day, blah, blah. So I get into the room, check in. Robert and Brady are in that room, and I go meet with them for just to hang out for a little bit. And as I'm unpacking, I realized that I didn't have toothpaste. I'm like, damn it, I didn't bring toothpaste. And, you know, everybody always feels a little... so we get to the room, and I think we're in the elevator at this point. We're still in the room, and I go, I need to go to the pharmacy because I'm out of toothpaste. Well, here comes Anne-Marie with her Felix the Cat bag. And it just completely opens it, and she's like, hold on. And if anybody, I'm aging myself with Felix the Cat bag. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. And she just pulls it, and she goes, here you go. And she gives me a little tube of toothpaste. And if I did not love you before then, that was a moment. And I even posted it on my Instagram.
You did.
And I was like, she just gave me toothpaste. Like, she's such a mom. Like,
that is the mom in me. Like, for 100%, that is the mom in me.
And that was the moment where I was like, okay, like, if I didn't love you before, I love you now.
So that's a great story. But, you know, how about all the stories of us dancing and singing in elevators? because that's pretty epic.
You're an awesome instigator. You're such a good instigator. Again, if you have not seen Wreck-It Ralph, check it out. You'll see the little princess. That's Aunt Marie grown up. I mean, she's going to grow up to be that. So we're at 15 minutes past the hour. So for everybody watching, this is Put Together Conversations, a special edition today. My guest is the Powerhouse advocate, Emery Otis, and we're talking about
Hashtag pretty princess.
Pretty Princess, Pretty Princess Powerhouse advocate, Emery. That's going to be
that is totally my new title. I'm changing that on all platforms.
Yeah, your name is going to be down at the crotch of the T-shirt. You got to look down at it. But we're talking today because she's on the show today, special edition, because we want to hear her story. So, Emery, the tradition of the show, tell us how you put it together.
So I'll be honest, like I was diagnosed with breast cancer almost 9 years ago. And I needed somewhere for my family to find out what was going on. So I didn't have to like message all of them because they're nosy. You know, Italians are just as bad as any ethnicity out there. Like they got to be in your biz. So I started blogging because I figured this was a great place for them to get my information. And then all of a sudden, all these people were reading it, Daniel, like people in Ireland. And I remember I had someone message me from Bali. I was like, someone from Bali is reading my blog. And when I first started blogging, I had way too many exclamation points. I swear it's not polished. It's me. Like it's just the ghetto version of a blog. And it resonated with people because it wasn't all of those beautiful, pretty ribbon things. And I realized that maybe I do have a voice here. So I kept on with breast cancer, and then I quickly went into mental health because after my diagnosis, it was about a year out, and my doctor patted me on the back and was like, "Oh, you did a great job. See you in a year." And I sat down and I was like, did I just have cancer? Like, what happened to me? Not one person with my mental health rap sheet asked me if I needed help. Nobody asked me. I'm a recovering addict and they're giving me Oxy and Hydro like it's their job. But it's on there and no one was talking to me about it. And I realized this is an issue. This is a huge issue. So I started sharing my mental health part of my life. And as much as cancer was very cathartic to share my story, sharing my mental health part of me was the best thing I ever did in my entire life. Like coming out and talking about my attempting suicide and hospitalizing myself and being in recovery was so therapeutic. And then about 3-4 years ago, I decided to come out about my sexual assault. And I was so scared to do this because, I was 15 when it happened. I never reported it, but I felt like it was the time. And when I did that, the amount of response I got back and how immense it was, it healed me in something that I thought that I was past, but I realized I wasn't. And that's where I am now. Like, I feel like the breast cancer set me into advocacy, but the mental health part of it was really my catalyst. And that's how What Would You Miss started, was through all that.
So I want to make sure that everybody who's watching the show, whatever channel by the way, we just upgraded, so we're on 8 different channels right now. We're on 5.
Wow.
We're on 5 Facebook pages, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. So
the name Twitch just always makes me want to go like this. I feel like I got a twitch.
Like there's something on my body. But this is the first time we're launched on Twitch, and we're on 5 different pages. So wherever you're watching, please join the conversation. If you go into the video, ask a question, make a comment,
Absolutely.
Join us. Okay, so let me unwrap some of all the stuff that you brought up together, because we do have the cancer and the recovery together, the mental health issues with both sexual assault victims. Have you ever thought, or have you ever seen what the connection is between everything, and is there a connection?
Well, as a young teenager, I was definitely on a path of self-destruction, and that was my goal, was to self-destruct. I was dealing with severe depression. I was the life of the party, hey, you guys want to go on an adventure? Ask Anne-Marie, she'll go. And I hid behind my depression with that. I mean, when I reach out to my friends now that I was friends with then, they had no idea what I was going through. And when I overdosed, people just thought that I overdosed on drugs. They didn't really even think that I was, trying to kill myself. And the sexual assault was only known by my best friend and the person who did it and a couple other people, my dear friend Phil, who's now died. But I just didn't tell anybody because I was so embarrassed and ashamed. And yes, I totally see a path on that because the sexual assault really propelled me into the drug addiction, like full force, like 100% full force. My senior year of high school, my very best friend died of a drug overdose that I was supposed to be there. I kind of blew him off that night and I blamed myself for it. And honestly, while it sent me into my second attempt, it also saved my life because I realized I needed to get out and I needed to try to find a way to take care of myself. Now, did my path after that lead me on a rocky road? 100%. But I knew at that point when I was 18 that I had some deep-rooted stuff that needed to come out eventually. Now, our body is really wild, isn't it? And I know you know this, Danielle. When we have trauma, we suppress it so that we can get through the days that are there. And those triggers that happen throughout our life happen because we need to deal with them. Now, you're not always ready to deal with them. So eventually you will be ready to handle them, but that takes a long time. And that didn't take me until I was freaking 40 years old almost to deal with them.
And I say this because the traumas from when I was a kid that later led me to start smoking and then drinking. Not that they're gateway drugs to each other, but I started smoking to experiment, and then I started doing drugs. I started drinking to experiment, then I started doing drugs, which led me on a later path. Then recovery meant all the mental health starts popping up. And then there is energetically speaking, there is a connection between, of course, we're live. There are some energy, in my world of energy, there's some connection that is set up between the energy we hold back and cancers that they manifest in some way. So that's why I was asking, do you believe that there is some big connection?
100%. So I really believe that through stress and trauma, your body either grows or it grows a tumor. And I'm sure we're going to get crap for me saying that. And I'm not saying everybody is like that, but I was on a death wish. I mean, Daniel, honest to God, the things that happened to me in my life, first of all, you'd think I was in a movie. Second of all, I was tempting fate. I was trying so hard to come right to that edge. And right before my cancer diagnosis, I was in a terrible, terrible state. I was suicidal. I had a suicide plan. I hospitalized myself because I knew I was going to fall through on it. And it took me a year to crawl out of that hole, a year of my life. Like I was clawing at the dirt to try to get back to something. And then right when I came up for air, I was like, all right, I'm doing okay. Like I was at a healthy weight. I wasn't self-harming. I was staying away from drugs. I was okay. And then I got cancer. And I just remember sitting back and being like, you've got to be kidding me. I just got to a point where I can handle myself and now this. But I really believe that, not that I did it to myself, and I'm not saying that, but your body does react to what your mind is going through. It's impossible for it not to.
I smirk. For everybody watching, I'm not smirking at the story. I'm smirking at the
He's laughing at me. Yeah. He is laughing at me.
Oh my God, woman! Change the story. I've heard it a million times. No, I smirk because I'm like, you're like, I'm sure because I've talked to a lot of people who went through cancer. That cancer is kind of like, oh my God, your life is going so awesome. Can I join? And you're like, no, cancer, no. And then the cancer's like, I want in on this party because when I was diagnosed with cancer, I just signed on to go direct a film. I was going to go on a promotion tour with some products and all these great things. And then cancer was like, let's stay home. Let's not do that. I'm like,
Let's
Oh,
mess with your butt. Let's
right.
mess with your breasts.
Like you think life's a pain in the ass? Wait for this. Um,
You liked your boobs then? Well, let me tell you something.
now, for people listening, hearing, they must really think like, oh my God, guys, you guys are so bitter, and but no,
No.
there's I had a little bit of hope and faith that I held on to. It's kind of like that pebble of sand from the never ending story, like that last little pebble of sand, and you're like, this is
I
gonna
love
bring me.
that.
Um, what was your pebble of sand? What was there? What held
Oh,
you?
Daniel. I'll be honest with you. So there was a couple of things like through cancer. Is that what you're talking about? So when
Yes.
I was diagnosed with cancer, I became friends with this girl that lived in Connecticut, Long Island area, and her and I became besties. Like I actually ended up traveling to Connecticut to take her to some doctor's appointment. She was 34 years old, stage 4, and she died within 2 years of our friendship. And right before she died, she said to me, "Be my voice." That was my pebble. Because I kept thinking, God, I have to be her voice. Like, this is it. Like, I have to keep telling my story and keep sharing other people's stories for support. Like, I have got to do this. She was my pebble of sand. I lost that along the way a couple of times, not just for her, but for my own being. I lost myself. When you're a mom, cancer and any other mental illness, chronic illness, whatever it is, adds another layer to it. Because you not only have to be good for yourself, but you got to be okay for your kids. And to balance that is really freaking hard. And there's no rule book to it. And we all screw up. Like there's no right or wrong to this. And I hid a lot of my crap from my kids. When I stopped hiding from them and started really sharing, and that's where What Would You Miss came from, it was like an epiphany. They got it. They wanted to listen to me. I was able to talk to my boys to raise them as gentlemen and not as, your typical, male athlete. And I'm using that as stereotypical. I know not all male athletes are like that, but it gave me a chance to really open up a door for them. So as much as it's cliche, in the end, they became my light. They really did because they saw me for who I was, not for who I was trying to be.
It reminds me of when I was diagnosed with cancer. In fact, for those of you, I was diagnosed on a Cinco de Mayo. I was diagnosed on Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, the irony.
Of course, I would of 2015, and we drove to the doctor. Christian, my partner, and I. We drove to the doctor, and on the way back in the car, I wasn't even looking at it. And I think I just kind of said to myself, and I said, when I get home, I'm making a video about this. And Christian, without skipping a beat, driving, he said, of course you are. Like, yeah, because that's you. You can't keep it. But there is, for everybody out there who's watching, there is the healing process for me, and I don't know if you agree with this, the healing process for me began the moment I shared.
Yeah.
Holding that diagnosis for myself was doing no good. It was like holding the secret of addiction. The moment that I confessed to myself and to the people at rehab, I'm an addict, the moment I let go of the secret, the healing started. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. So first of all, when I was diagnosed, my good friend Genevieve at the time that my diagnosis, I mean, she's still my good friend. She said to me, "Look I'm not taking your kids because you got 4 of them. I'm not cooking for you because you're a better cook than I am." But she was a photographer, and she's like, "I'll take pictures." And I remember being like, "What the hell am I gonna do with these pictures?" And they're raw, like they're really freaking intense pictures. And I decided that I wanted to share them on social media. And I sat my kids down because it was important for me to talk to them about it. These images were going to be on social media, and they live in social media. And I remember my son, Sam, who was 10 at the time, saying, "I think I want to see him first." And I said, "Okay, let's look at him." And he's like, "Oh, I don't know if I can." I'm like, "Well, do you or do you want to?" He's like, "No, I think I want to." And he looked at them and he's like, "Oh, phew." I'm like, "Phew." Like there's pictures of me with scars and drains and bruising. And he says to me, "I thought you were going to have 2 holes there." And that was like such a light to me because I said to myself, other people must think this. This is how kids are thinking too of it. So, yes, I agree with you on that part of it because I realized that me sharing my story wasn't just about me, it was about other people. However, when I shared my pictures, which most of them are from the neck down, you don't even see my face in it, people would message me and be like, oh, that's like me, except my scar goes this way, or that's like, and I realized I wasn't alone. Like this was, other people were going through this. Fast forward to What Would You Miss? And I started sharing, my What Would You Miss? And some of them were heavy and really dark and incredibly real. And some of them were lighthearted, but people started messaging me. And what you don't realize is when you have suicidal ideations and someone says to you, oh, well, you got 4 great kids, you have a great job, you have a great family, your cousins are integrated in your life, it makes you feel worse. Like I felt so guilty whenever someone would say that to me, because I was like, why do I feel like this if I have this great life? It made me feel worse. However, with What Would You Miss? It made me remember the things I would miss about myself, me. And that gave me so much hope. And then other people started seeing that. So I 100% agree with you. Sharing my story was therapy for me.
For everybody watching, this is Putting Together Conversation Special Edition. My guest today.
I love that it's special edition. I feel like I'm special sauce. I mean, I am a pretty princess. Can we just go back to that?
We're speaking to pretty princess, powerhouse advocate, Emery Otis today, and we're talking about cancer recovery, disclosing, and owning your life. If you are watching on any of the channels, either on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, please enter the conversation, be part of it. You are welcome to ask a question, make a comment, and I will make sure that she reads it. If you're watching this on replay, still you're able to ask questions, post comments, and I'll make sure that she gets it. Let's talk a little bit about the. I wish I remembered to pull my video. Excuse me. But What Would You Miss? Because it's such a beautiful project. But of course, when Anne-Marie asked me to do mine, it couldn't be heartfelt. It couldn't be. It was tacos.
It was the best video. You definitely have to add it to this. It was the best video, honestly.
So it's on the, and we'll post it. I have your link to your webpage. I'm gonna make sure that people can check that out. So you can go check this out, and you can find everything we're talking about. It has a connection there. But can you talk a little bit about what would you miss, and what the purpose of it is? What's the mission?
Yeah. So about almost 2 years ago, I started feeling myself slipping into that dark space again. And when you're so seasoned in this mental health space, you know your triggers. You see them and you recognize them. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who lost her son to suicide, and she wanted to talk about him, but she didn't want to talk about the suicide. And I said, well, what do you miss about him? She's like, I just miss everything. And I was like, no, but what do you really miss about him? And she started with this list of things that she missed about him. And it was, like wearing his hat backwards and wearing his hat on, half off, slamming the door every time he left. It was the things that he probably felt like he was a burden for. And a couple days later, I was really struggling, and I was looking at the medicine cabinet, and I thought, what can I take here? And I realized that I needed something. I quickly needed something. And I started thinking about the things I would miss about myself. And Daniel, you'll love this. And it wasn't my kids or my family or my cousins. And I have a freaking awesome cousins. Like my cousins are top notch, and my kids are amazing, and my family's great. It was singing in the car at the top of my lungs. It was singing in an elevator with my friends. It was sending Snapchats that were ridiculous. It was wearing stilettos. It was wearing lip gloss. It was all those things that made me who I am. And it started giving me hope. So I started practicing it 3 times a day. I would say 5 things about myself that I would miss if I wasn't here. And I realized that was the light that I needed. So I started playing around with it, and I realized when I was sending that message out to people, they would miss me. I remember I sent a message to my friend, something similar to like, I would miss singing in the car. And we were having bunko. Do you know what that is? It's like the suburban mom version of like a drunken fest. 12 women get around and they like roll dice for like 2 hours, but they drink while they're doing it. And she messaged me back and she said, I would miss you at bunko. And that's when the light really went off, because when you tell someone something that they would miss about them, you're validating their existence. You're showing them that you actually would miss them if they weren't here, and you're seeing them. And that's all the things that you have a really hard time with when you're in that space. You know, I remember texting you, and I think it was how the taco video started. I think I said I would miss talking about Taco Tuesday with you. And how did that make you feel? Like, seriously, how did it make you feel?
Well, and I'm not gonna cry. This is not about me, so stop it, people.
Okay, but you and I can always cry together.
Um, one of the most beautiful things, I'm sure anybody who's watching this video, if you've been watching my shows or listening to me for the last 9 years, you know that I am a taco lover. Yes, I am. I love my tacos. Um, Not crunchy. They have to be corn soft. uh, but it is well known, and because we know each other starting from the advocacy world, it is well known in almost every conference that I go to that I will fight for tacos.
You will.
I want tacos on the menu somehow. So it has become tradition that people send me taco messages,
This is
taco
true.
pictures, taco jokes, taco videos. Like especially on Tuesday, it's like religiously. Like if I develop dementia or Alzheimer's, I would know that it's Tuesday because of the taco things that I get in my and all my social media. So when you sent me that, I was like, oh wow, like she really knows that I love my tacos. So I know you want for those people wondering, I'm going to tag the video. I'm gonna find it,
I have it. I have it. I'm going to send it right now.
and it's me talking about missing tacos and the flavors and the taste. But the way the way that video made me feel when I was done was I am more how can I say this without sounding cocky. Like I think very highly of myself. I know my self worth. But just like any other human, I have my moments of self doubt. But whenever I think about that video or think about you and the response to the video, I'm like, dude, like you're pretty cool. Like, why would you not want to be here?
Right. That's
Right?
exactly it.
Like,
Yes, that's exactly it.
does that make sense? Like, it's
A
like,
hundred
why?
percent. And that's the beauty of What Would You Miss? Because you realize that there's so much hope in yourself. In yourself. It's not about what, you know, your best friend is telling you or what your therapist is telling you. It's about what you feel inside of you. And that's really hard to do sometimes. I mean, it's really hard.
And so it's for those of you that are watching. We're gonna make sure that you get the link
I sent it to you in the private chat.
so you can watch it. I got you. Okay, got it. And so I'm gonna bring this up and
He's multitasking, everyone. He's part woman. He can do it.
let me see if I can bring this up really quick.
Oh, can you can share screen. We're so tech savvy here on, what was this called again?
So
You love me.
there are very few people that. Okay, hold on, folks. While Emery keeps talking, I'm going to. Set
Why do
this
I have
up.
to keep talking? I almost feel like I should sing, but I don't have a song in my head.
Oh, you know
You
what?
know, because I do love to sing. I mean, I'm a horrible singer. I get that. But there's just nothing like singing. And you know I love to dance. And you know, COVID has really ruined my dancing. I just want you to know that.
Copenhagen, you're dancing. How is that?
Because there's no clubs open.
True. Come on, Garza.
You can do it. I believe in you.
So
I
tell us a
believe.
little bit. Light bulb. Tell us about light bulb.
So LifeBulb is a great platform. LifeBulb takes people with all different chronic illnesses and bridges them between different companies to build their advocacy. And that's what I love about them because it is a bridge between different corporations. What the hell is that?
Hold on.
There you are. Wait, why can't we hear it? Unhit mute.
I know that I can. Why is he not listening?
No, you got to unmute it.
It is unmuted.
Well, that's a shame because look at how adorable you look too. And now it's just me here. I'm going to kill him. He's left me. And now I'm by myself. So this is where it gets awkward because, see, for the record, I don't like awkward silence. So now I'll
I
just,
took
I'm
myself
going to
on my
kill
own.
you.
I was like, where did I go?
You missed it. I was like, this is where he's leaving me. And now I don't like
I'm
awkward silence.
done. Okay, for everybody watching, we're gonna
I'm
post
taking
the
over the
video.
show. That's it.
That's it. I mean, that's the kind of powerhouse princess she is. She took over my show. So we were talking about light bulb real quick. So light bulb, the way that I came into that with you was through the recovery part.
Yes.
And for people that don't know, and I know you're open to sharing it, what was your addiction and how did you come into recovery?
I was a cokehead. Unfortunately, I was around drug dealers my entire life. My friends were all drug dealers, and it was very accessible to me. And like I said, I was on a path for destruction. Self-harm was my BFF. And I wanted to numb my pain that I was in. That's just the truth. And drugs were an easy outlet for me. When my best friend died of a drug overdose, I realized that this was not the road I needed to be on, and I needed to get off of it quick, really quick. So while his death, I blame myself, but it saved me 100%, and 100% saved me.
What was your method to getting clean?
I went to rehab. I had no choice. There was no way I couldn't. Was rehab the best thing? Not all the time. I mean, there were times when, rehab's, the way we treat our addicts is not beautiful. I never woke up and said, I think I'll be an addict today. I got nothing else to do. I think I'm going to be an addict. That's not how it happens. Like, you get there because of trauma. You get there because of pain. You get there because you feel like you have no other choice. And it's an illness. It is an illness. You don't want to be there. And I just recently posted this, that recovery is daily. Like, every day I work at trying to be in recovery, because if you're not working towards recovery, you're working towards relapse. And that's the hard truth. I mean, you have got to work. But we don't treat our addicts the right way, because it is an illness, and it needs to be treated differently. So rehab was not ideal all the time, but it was what saved me. Support groups are 100% my go-to. There's nothing more empowering than being in a room filled with people who have done the same things that you have done, but one's a CEO of a business, one's a stay-at-home mom that's a soccer mom, whatever you want to call her. One is a kid that works at the grocery store. Another one's, a grandma. I mean, you wouldn't believe the people that come to rehab. And it's therapeutic to be around people who have been there. Now, going forward as an adult who's, almost 50 years old, I have a great support system. Like, I can text certain people and they know that I'm needing them right now, because that urge doesn't just magically go away. That's not how it works.
I'm a rehab graduate too.
Yeah.
You're right. For me, there was just no other option. I had to be somewhere where somebody had control over everything for me, and I was very fortunate. And for the folks out there at Bay Area Recovery Center in Dickinson, Texas. Hello, folks. Still, best summer of my life. It was summer camp, but the benefit to mine was that they were not like, this is how you get sober. It's like, hey, here's some options. Choose one. We're just going to give you some options on how to have a life outside of drugs and alcohol. And I'll be 14 in June, so I'm God bless. But it took some knocks.
Well, and I think you just said something that's really, really important. It's recovery, mental health. It's about practicing your tools on a daily. You got to practice them every single day. When you're feeling great, you need to practice them, because when you hit that point where you need them, if you haven't practiced them, they ain't going to work. It's just like, I equate this when I talk to my kids, my boys, about recovery. I use sports as an analogy. And I say to them, you ran a race this weekend and you didn't run what you wanted. So are you going to give up, or are you going to practice it more? And they're like, well, we're going to practice it more. I'm like, exactly. So in recovery and with mental health, if you're not practicing it on a daily, you're never going to get to that goal that you want to be at. And that's a problem, because I don't think society looks at it like that. I think they look at it like, oh, she went to rehab, she's fine now. bullshit. I have to work at that daily. And I'm not great about it. Like, there's times when I struggle, and you know that. You and I've had conversations, And one thing I do love about you is you can tell when I'm in a bad place. You message me and you're like, "Hey, I'm feeling it. Are you struggling right now?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, dude, let me tell you what happened." And then you'll message me back, "Do you live in a movie?"
Well, there is a.
We won't go there.
But I think there is a between similarities, cancer to cancer, people in recovery from people in recovery, alcoholics. I think there is a message, like there's a few words that we say that another person in the same circle will understand and go,
Right.
is that right? And
Yep.
then you and I overlap in so many freaking circles that you could post one single word on your Facebook, and I'm like, what the hell? What's wrong with her? And I'm like, hey, what's going on? And for those of you that are wondering, that like, I am pretty intuitive and psychic, but I'm
For
not
sure.
that psychic. Usually, it's something that you post that I'll be like, this person ain't right now. Let me check and see. But I admire you, and I think it's something that people can take away. If anything, you folks watching or listening, if anything you take away is find your group that understands your keywords, because they will respond to those. And whatever you want to call it, your tribe, your girls, your boys,
It's probably not
whatever.
politically correct anymore,
But
just for the record.
it's that group of people that understand that when you say pineapple, they know exactly what you mean, and they'll go, hey, they'll hit you up privately. What's going on?
Yeah, so if I ever say I'm fine, like I'm not fine. Like that is if I say I'm fine, like bullshit. And if I say, yeah, I'm great, also bullshit.
Yeah.
If I say
Mine
I'm
is
good or
usually,
I'm okay.
yeah, mine is usually like, if anything starts with "I was thinking today," I'm in trouble. If I've
Right.
been thinking,
Are you an overthinker?
oh, girl,
Girl,
yeah,
boy, I am an overthinker. I could think right off the right.
yeah, man, things are good, and that's I'm the when things are good addict. When things
Oh
are
yeah.
bad, I'm too sad to want to go anywhere, so I wouldn't even consider going to a bar or doing drugs. When things are really good, I alcoholic and drug addict me want to sabotage.
Yeah,
And,
100%. I'm
and they're like,
100% with you.
ooh, things are really good. Let's go party.
Well, it's almost
Ooh.
like you're waiting for that other shoe to drop. So this is how I think. Like I'm like, okay, that other shoe's gonna drop, so I might as well screw it up now before that other shoe drops.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I think.
Like,
But
I'm
when
just
things
going
are
to screw it up
crappy, I'm like, I got this.
yeah.
They're crap. I can handle it.
Yeah. When I am so down on myself, like, yeah, of course I'm down on myself. Like, of course. I'm a recovering alcoholic drug addict who had cancer, HIV positive.
You're a mess.
Yes. God, where's Lifetime? Give me a call.
I just want you to know that I didn't even do my makeup before I jumped on this call.
And you look awesome. You look
Really?
awesome.
I think I need a
Yeah.
filter. Can you put a filter
Yeah.
on this? Oh, wait, it's live. I can't put a filter on.
Yes, no, we don't need a filter. I actually scrubbed because I had a presentation this morning, so I just scrubbed my face.
You exfoliated?
I did. That's how
Isn't
good.
that the weirdest word?
I usually do it on
Exfoliate.
Tuesdays. So when the salsa drips, I can just enjoy it. Stop it. It's not the kind of show.
It could
For
be.
those of
I'm
you
just saying.
watching, we're about 10 minutes to the end of the show. But you are watching Put Together Conversations, special edition episode with Pretty Princess Powerhouse Advocate.
I'm going to change my name to all of that on all my social media profiles.
It's got to fit somewhere. I want a T-shirt that says there. I'm a
That
fan
would
of
be the best t-shirt.
Pretty Princess Powerhouse Advocate Emery.
For the record, my boys call me Pretty Princess.
I don't know what else I can call you from now on. Like, I
You
just
can't.
call you anything else.
I mean, I do have a couple tiaras, just so you know.
This is my surprise race.
I wanted to wear them once to Healthy Voices, but Gabe Nathan told me that it would have been like frowned upon.
To wear a princess shirt? If you were
a tiara.
Oh, if you were next, okay. Here's the deal. Next live conference that we go to, we both wear tiaras to the
Down.
opening night. We were there with tiaras
and stilettos. Can you walk in stilettos? I think you can.
I may or may not. I may
Totally
or may
think
not
you
have.
can.
I may or may not have a
Oh wait,
way.
it just popped up words of wisdom.
Yes. So this is a part of the show where I ask my guests to share some words of wisdom with the folks watching and listening.
Okay, I have a
You
lot.
notice what words of wisdom do you like to share?
So here's the thing. My son Sam messaged me at the beginning of the school year, and he was writing this paper. And in the paper, he had to say life lessons that he was taught. And he had already started this list of life lessons because I give my kids life lessons at dinner all the time. And he wanted me to add to it. So I added a few to it, and he wrote this paper about it. And afterwards, his teacher said, "You got an A plus." But his teacher said, "I really want to meet your mom." So I got a couple life lessons, words of wisdom. One thing is, if you don't want to get caught, don't do it.
If you don't want to get caught, don't do it.
100%. If you don't want to get caught, don't do it. Like, it goes back to like the whole being honest. Oh, someone just posted on there.
Yeah, if they said if they can do stilettos, I can do stilettos.
Okay, good. Then 6-inch, because I'm good at about 6-inch. I can do like jumping jacks in 6-inch. Anyways, the thing about if you don't want to get caught, don't do it is it's about like being honest and having integrity. You can still have a great time, but if you don't want to get caught, then don't do it. And I wish I would have thought about that a little bit more when I was younger, because I probably wouldn't have done some of the things that I did. And not that I regret things, because the only thing I regret is I'm gonna cry. The only thing I regret is not meeting my friend Phil that night. It's the only thing I regret in my life. It's really hard to think about not meeting up with him that night and where the path led. But we got to be honest and true to ourselves. And to be honest and true to yourself, it's about staying on that path and doing things that will be good for your being. And if you don't want to get caught, then you shouldn't do it. I mean, my other one is don't be an asshole, because nobody likes an asshole.
Okay. This
I hope I
is
can
the
swear on
time
this.
for the other comment that just came in. Yes, Queen.
Yes, Queen!
You know, that reminds me of.
Wait, who is this person? Because let me just tell you, he can be queen, I'm princess, so we're good.
This is actually Christian, my boyfriend.
Oh my God, Christian?
Yes. So he was supposed to be here to greet, but he had an emergency call to tend to.
Okay.
So he couldn't be here.
We'll let him slide.
But when I was a kid, when I was young, and I would do something, because everybody thought I was like an angel, which I wasn't. And when my mom would find out about something that I did that I didn't know she knew.
Oh yeah.
But later in life, I realized what the trick was. She would be at night. She's like, "So, did you have a good day?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Is there anything you want to tell me?" "No." And she'd be like, "Well, if you can go to bed and put your head on your pillow, and if you die and you're not going to regret anything, then go to bed." And I would be like, "I'm sorry, I did this," and that was her thing. So her thing was pretty much what you're saying is, if if you don't want to get caught, don't do it. So that's what taught me in life. And after rehab, I lived with that. Is like I really work hard at doing the best I can in life. So
100%.
But I don't want to get caught by myself. I don't want to go to bed and have regrets about something I did that day.
Exactly. I don't want to go to bed at night and think, God, I wish I didn't do that, because if so and so finds out, then I'm gonna feel like crap. Like if I feel bad about it, like no, And the other one that I told, the other words of wisdom is, your mom's always right. So this goes in perfect with what we're saying.
She was.
Yeah.
And I think, I know for some of you watching, like I've had this show now 9 years, and I know that I want to grow bigger, not just as a person, but as an advocate, as an entertainer, as a spiritual mentor. Like I want to grow more. And I know there are, yes, for those of you, there are skeletons in my closet. There's a collection of skeletons in my closet, but I don't want to add to it anymore. I don't want people to look at me. Well, you say this, but you do that. I'm like, no, I do my best to preach to do what I preach, and that's big.
For
and
sure.
That's one. Again, for those of you, like I've
I don't have many skeletons. Pretty much, I've shared all my crap on social media, much to my father's demise. Just today, I put a post up and I was like, remember the days when we used to sneak out of the house going God knows where to God knows who to get into trouble? And I had to stop by my father's house and he said to me, what was that post that you put on Facebook? I was like, I am 49 years old and it was a joke.
Yeah. There are times, for those other all those friends out in Texas, there are friends that my sister knows now from when I was younger. That once in a while, when we have barbecues in Texas when we visit, we'll spill out. It's like, oh, remember that time? And I'm like, dude, like that was like 30 years ago. Why are you? It was just like, wait a minute, was that time you told me? And I'm like, oh, like why did you have to? So yeah, those friends. Before we go, do you have a couple more minutes? Because we're running out of time,
Yeah.
but I want to stick on that. If you saw yourself out on the street and you had to describe Anne Marie to me, how would you describe her?
Am I describing the Anne Marie right now?
Yeah.
Well, she's a pretty princess. That's a given. I would describe her as someone who is loves loudly, loves with everything that she has, is loyal to an absolute fault, has a immense respect for truth and honesty, can be loud as hell, can't sing to save her life, will dance in the middle of the street, will try very hard to make the people around her feel comfortable and safe and smile, yet on the inside isn't always feeling that exact way.
Very cool. Here's one question that I've always wanted to ask you.
Oh, God. No, I will not sleep with you.
Well, that's the end of the show, folks. Thank you for coming. I'm going to delete this show as soon as it's over now.
Christian, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Why do you do so much?
Because I can't sit still. I have severe ADHD, but also when my brain stops, that's when my overthinking becomes the worst. That's when my dark thoughts become the hardest. So I constantly have to be doing something. If I'm not, my brain will take over. That's the honest to God truth. I have to, people say to me, you work too much, you do too much, you're involved in too much. I'm like, this is my survival. This is how I survive. 100%. Yeah, I know you can relate because you're involved in 20 billion things too.
Yeah. There are people out there who are probably watching or will be watching this and go, you guys share too much. You say too much, you over. But there are also people out there who want to tell somebody something that relates to what we talked about. What would you say to that person that is holding on to that secret?
Yeah, so I'm going to go back to what my friend Sephora said, be my voice. Because, I've been through so much that I feel like I can be many people's voices. And when I finally came out about my sexual assault, I had someone message me and it could have failed. Me coming out could have failed completely. This one person messaged me and said, thank you so much. I've never been able to tell anybody what I've been through, but reading your story was exactly what I went through. And it made me feel like I wasn't alone. That one person is all I needed. That's it. So I do this and I share so much because of that one person out there. That one person. There are things about my life that I don't share, and mostly it's because of my kids. When I share something, I do ask them first because they're part of this story, and it's really important for me to have them understand that it's okay to talk about this because men and mental health, we all know how that goes. I'm gonna tell you one story before we end this. I shared all my mastectomy pictures on social media, and I ended up getting banned from Facebook. I was put in Facebook jail because of it. And a friend of mine who's now gone, but she was a lobbyist and she helped me write a change.org. And we got over 500,000 signatures. And I was on a lot of news reports about it because Facebook changed their bylaws and what you could have mastectomy pictures of. Well, Daniel, you and I work on the internet, right? So everything's in the computer. Like right now we're just in the computer. Like who the hell's watching this? But whoever your followers are, no one else is watching this. So I did this interview with someone who, I didn't know. It was MSNBC. No idea it was MSNBC. Wasn't even paying attention. Thought it was like Huffington Live or something like that. Well, my son, Ben, his class in 8th grade was researching an organization, I have a nonprofit, to donate to. So the teacher types in stupid dumb breast cancer. The same day I'm doing my interview about my mastectomy pictures. And up on the smart board, which is about the size of a wall, comes all of my mastectomy pictures. And so my son comes home from school as a 13, 14-year-old and says, not a great day to search stupid dumb breast cancer on social media. All your mastectomy pictures came up. Now, he acted like he was annoyed, but he really wasn't, because he saw what everybody else was seeing, like this woman who was fighting so hard for other people to share their educational pictures so that other people couldn't be scared. Like, that's huge. So that's why I keep doing it. Until my kids tell me stop opening your mouth, which even then I probably won't.
But yeah,
I'm gonna keep doing it.
When I first started, people were like, "Why are you sharing? Why are you sharing?" Like, especially just down in South Texas, like you're Mexican Latino. Like, why are you talking about this? We don't talk about this. And then 20 years later, people are coming to me and going, "We're so glad you talk about this. We're so glad."
Exactly.
And then having had the experience of over the last 20 years to educate and train other people to share their stories, and then me doing the same thing, clicking on stuff and going, "Hey, I know them. Like, I met them in Philadelphia. I met
So
them
cool.
in Boston. I taught them in my class. Like I got a research. I get an email for a research out of San Francisco, and I recognized the name somewhere, and I was like, I think I know him. And when I responded, he replied back. He goes, "You probably don't remember me." He goes, "But I was in one of your classes at UCI when you presented. You motivated and influenced me to go into HIV/AIDS research in
Amazing.
San Francisco." And I was like, "Of course." I'm like,
Of course you were.
But I'm like, so for anybody out there, I'm gonna look at the camera. For anybody out there who is sitting there and going, what good will me talking about it do? What will my story do? We don't know. We can't guarantee that it's going to change the world or influence everybody, or there's going to be a Lifetime movie of the week made about you. But I guarantee you this, and I assure you that one person is going to listen to your story and go, "I can relate to it. Or I can
Absolutely.
relate to him."
I mean, not everyone can be a queen and a pretty princess. I get that.
No. You can't be the taco overlord as I am. You can't. You're not going to be me. That's for sure.
I've tried.
But you will make the difference in somebody. And one of the coolest things that the people in my family who normally would not talk about this stuff have privately messaged me and go, "Hey, cuz, like, I know you work in this. I have an itch here," or
I love it.
"How did you find out about your anal cancer?" or "Where can I go get tested in Houston?" I'm like, "Oh, here." Like,
I mean, to end this, you had butt cancer and I had boob cancer. Like, it can't get more synchronicity than that.
we're the best tits and ass
Around.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real.
We should karaoke that song
Let's do it.
from Chorus Line, Tits and Ass. Like that should be our
TNT.
That should be our karaoke.
Let's do it.
Song.
You know I'm all about some karaoke.
In stilettos with the t-shirts that say Taco Overload and Pretty Princess.
Oh my God, we are doing this. Watch out, Healthy Voices 2022. That's all I got to say.
We just went a little bit over, but I do want to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time to do this.
Of course.
You have influenced part of whom I am as an advocate in the last several years.
Oh, Daniel.
Yes, for folks, I'm like, what really? Well, not yes. I had a career in advocacy before her, but one of my mottos that I live by, and I learned this in rehab, was if you think I can do it, then I know I can do it.
I love that.
And you are right up there with the people that continuously thinks that I can do anything. And when Anne-Marie says, "You're going to do this," I'm like, "Let's do this." And
you're the second person to say that today, so I must be onto something.
Yeah, really, because it's true. And 9 out of 10, I try it, and I'm like, I don't know how this this work. It did. And boom, there it is. And so,
Well, I'll just say thank you for having me here, and thank you for being my friend, my colleague, my go-to. I admire you so incredibly much. I think that you are just amazing. And yes, I think you're a queen for sure.
thank you.
But you're also a taco lord, and that's why I love you.
I am the taco overlord queen.
I love it. That's a shirt.
That is the shirt. For everybody watching, you've been watching Putting Together Conversations special edition. Today, my guest was fellow advocate, colleague, and dear friend, Emery Otis. We've been talking about advocacy, recovery, cancer, what your mama said, and how we're going to take over the world. If you missed it, please rewind. If you're watching on Facebook, would you share it on your page so your friends can see it? If you know anybody who's gone through anything we talked about, please share this video with them. If you're watching on YouTube, would you mind scrolling down, hitting that subscribe button and liking it? Leave a comment. We'll answer it afterwards. And if you're watching on Twitter or Stitch, please leave a comment anyway, and we'll make sure to get back to you with our answers. If you have any questions about anything we talked about, you can either contact me privately or I'm going to put back up her. There, you can go here to stupidbreastcancer.com, and there are the links to any of the stuff that she does. Make sure you go check it out. Emery, love you, girl.
Love you too. Ciao.
Don't go away. Let me say goodbye, everybody. For everybody watching, if you have more information on HIV, anal cancer, mental health, recovery, please get in touch. I will be more than happy to chat with you. Reach me on any of the channels, on any of the message boards, and I will reach out to you. For now, I want to thank you for watching. This is Daniel G. Garza saying, hey, put it together.